it written in Bhagavad Gita कि कर्म की चिंता करो फल की नहीं. To speak a little about through a story this thing called karmas and how do I care of certain other elements of our life. Namaskar, this is me Nehaa Goyal from Nehaa Goyal Dream Reading. I'm a tarot reader, numerologist, DNA astrologer as well as a transformation coach. Once upon a time, all the gods were having a conference. Every god has a particular vahan. They have a particular animal which is their vahan, which is through that particular animal they travel around. So for example, for Surya Dev, for sun, it is the horses. As far as Vishnu is concerned, it's a hawk, which is an eagle. And as far as Lakshmi ji is concerned, it's an ullu, which is an owl. As far as Ganesh ji is concerned, it is a rat, which is a chuha, so on and so forth. So what happens usually when you go for a party that the cars are parked outside, all the drivers or all the carriers, they have a particular place where they come together and interact. So this is exactly what happened in this conference also. All the gods, when they arrived, they went inside and their vehicle or their carrier was parked outside. Now, while these guys, the gods, were having their discussions inside, as far as the Garuda is concerned, the hawk is concerned, he saw that at the entrance of this particular conference venue, there was this beautiful small little sparrow chirping away to glory. And to be honest, as far as the song was concerned which she was singing, it was very melodious and everybody was enjoying it. All of this was happening while everybody was enjoying the song of this sparrow. Is that in the meanwhile, Yama, who limps a little, so he came a little late. Yama, god of death, as they say, or the god of dharma. As Yama came, Garuda was observing, the hawk was observing Yama. He was going inside and he saw the sparrow and then he frowned. He suddenly went like, Then Yama went inside. Garuda thought that, oh, Yama doesn't like the sparrow, which means sparrow will die or sparrow is going to die soon, because remember, Yama is the god of death. Now, what does Garuda do? Garuda, after seeing this and after being entertained by the sparrow, wants to save the sparrow. So what he does is he goes to the sparrow, takes the sparrow in his palms and flies across oceans, across rivers, across mountains to this far off land which was it was almost like a paradise. And he finds a safe mango tree for this sparrow and keeps the sparrow on this mango tree. He comes back to where the gods' conference is happening, satisfied that he has been able to save the sparrow, and the sparrow, this cute little sparrow, can live a lovely life now. Yama will not be able to take this sparrow away. As the conference gets over and all the gods come out, Vishnu and Yama were coming out together. Yama looks up at the same place where the sparrow was sitting earlier and he says, oh. Now Vishnu asks, what happened? Why such a sigh? Yama says that there was a sparrow which was sitting over here when I came. And while I was coming, Yama has this book where it is written that who has to die when. So Yama said that while I was coming, I realized that this particular sparrow was supposed to die today. Its time was up. But in the book it was written that she is supposed to die in a far off land, across the seas and across the mountains, on a mango tree. And right below that mango tree there is a python, which is going to consume this sparrow. When I came here, I was wondering that this sparrow is so little with its small wings. How is it going to fly all that way? But then Garuda came to rescue. The eagle came to rescue. And he did it for me. So I was just thinking, thanks to the eagle. And while the Garuda was listening to this intently, Yama hears the sound of the python, Galpay's sparrow. So what is it that we get to know of this story? What we get to know from this story is that we might be doing any activity hoping or thinking that we are doing the best that we can for this other person or whoever it is that we are doing the deed for. But we do not know the various other things which are happening behind the scene and how is it going to affect this other person, no matter how good our intentions be. For example, in this case also, Garuda's intention, the eagle's intention, were very pure. He actually wanted to help this sparrow. But if it was written in the fate, that's one way of looking at it. Or for example, if it was the karma of this sparrow to die in a far off land, we might be becoming a facilitator of it also. So in such a case, can we really be sure about what is going to be the repercussion of our karmas? Whether we are doing a good karma in our intention or a bad karma in our intention? Now, this particular story, because of, the layers that this story has, it teaches us so much. One of the biggest lessons that I took from it as a DNA astrologer is that we cannot control everything. No matter how hard we try, no matter how kind our heart is, no matter how much help we might want to provide to the world out there. In fact, if you would look at the Upanishads or the Puranas, they advise that the only energy which has the ability to control everything is God, whatever God means to you, or that God energy, because that is all-knowing. And because it is all-knowing, a lot of time, a lot of deeds that you might have seen from that God or that avatara might have been negative as well. For example, Ram exiling Sita to the forest, the way we know the story. So there are many layers behind the layers behind the layers happening in everybody's, in all of our life, and we cannot control everything for ourselves or for everybody else as well. That is the first point. The second point is that me being a DNA astrologer, then you might ask this question that, Neha, where does your work become valid if we cannot control anything? Well, that is something which I tell everybody who comes to me. And in fact, every astrologer, every person dealing with divinity should be telling this to every person. That here, I'm telling you, through what I see in the chart, that these are possibilities of things that you might have done in the past, knowingly, unknowingly, and these are the compensatory deeds that you can do with it. But the question that you might ask next is, Neha, when will these prarabdhas get over, or when will these remedies start making me benefit? That's where I tell people that, see, that is not in your hand. Because we cannot have a spick and span slate. No matter, we can only put an intent towards it. There are certain people who aren't even putting an intent towards it. Then the things get prolonged, or the suffering gets prolonged. Here, at least you are getting an opportunity of knowing and doing certain mindful deeds. But similar to this particular story of Garuda and the God conference, and what is written in Bhagavad Gita, that do your karam, do the deeds. But if you do those deeds thinking, oh, things will change for me, then it is futile. Then don't take DNA astrology, don't take any of those readings, but take them only if you are absolutely clear that I want to know, that I want a sneak peek into what I did in the past, where I can make my deeds better, to which relations do I owe an apology. And then once that prarabdha is over, is when you can start seeing certain changes in your life. But then again, remind yourself of this story which we have just spoken about. Every deed that you did, just be careful about the intent that you put into it, not about the result. If you have any questions, please write into the comment section. On YouTube, please join me on my Instagram page, Nehaa Goyal. That's NEHAAGOYAL. If it calls out to you, you can also get in touch with me for your DNA astrology reading. Please subscribe, like and comment. Share this with people whom you feel it will help them. Namaskar. Radhe Radhe.